But sarcasm and apparent reason or proportion, all those things seem to have been lost on conspiracy-obsessed conservatives who have turned this email into the Watergate tapes.
We now have the smoking document. This is a classic cover-up of a cover-up, and that is a serious offense.
Statement today, Senator John McCain said Rhodes' email was ample evidence of the politicization of this tragedy, while Senator Lindsey Graham told Newsmax yesterday this email is a smoking gun. It shows political operatives in the White House working to create a political narrative at odds with the facts. A smoking gun that confirms pretty much what everyone has been saying all along.
All right, you would expect that from MSNBC, would you not? And joining us now is the aforementioned Senator Lindsey Graham. Hello, Senator.
How you doing?
So the smoking gun to them confirms what everyone has known all along, but that's not really the case, is it?
Well, you know, it's sad really that our Democratic friends, for the most part, seem to have no interest in trying to uncover about how 4 Americans died in the line of duty 7 weeks before an election. Is really, I think, sad for the country. And let's just remember this. Remember when President Obama told us, as things become available about Benghazi, we will be transparent and share them with the American people? Remember that statement?
Sure.
This email, which is a smoking gun about how they drove the narrative toward a protest based on a video rather than a coordinated terrorist attack, came about through an independent judiciary. Thank God for an independent judiciary. This administration would have never provided this one document because they know how damning the document is. And when Jay Carney tried to say it had nothing to do with Benghazi, that insults everyone's intelligence. It is disrespectful to the dead and their families, and it will not stand. This document was a result of a private organization, Judicial Watch, not giving up, a judge with the courage to require the executive branch to disclose its sins, and we're just beginning Benghazi.
Well, I'm glad to hear you say that. You know, we had the chief investigator for Judicial Watch on yesterday, right after that statement was made by Jay Carney that this was not about Benghazi, referring to the email, and he said Jay Carney is a liar. You agree with that?
Yeah, he's lying, and he's misleading the public, and clearly he's lying. But let's call Ben Rhodes, the author of the document, and ask him what it was about. And use common sense. Do you think they were worried about property damage to the embassy in Cairo from a protest? No, they were worried about the 4 dead Americans in Benghazi. What did Susan Rice get asked about on Sunday television? Benghazi and the 4 dead Americans. The third goal of the email is to reassure the American people that we will bring those to justice who harmed Americans. Well, nobody was harmed anywhere other than Benghazi. So the document itself clearly demonstrates they were worried about Benghazi. To suggest otherwise is insulting and disrespectful, but that's the way they've been. And they've generally got away with it. If it had been for people like Judicial Watch and some members of Congress and a few news organizations, this thing would have gone away a long time ago. They got away with it. They were able to run out the clock 7 weeks before an election. And the email is important because it shows that they're not trying to explain what happened in Benghazi, because all the evidence was of a coordinated terrorist attack. And the story they wanted Susan Rice to tell was of a protest caused by video that never happened.
Right, and by the way, credit yourself. Pat yourself on the back, Senator. I know you're not looking for that, but you've been at the forefront and you've kept this alive where others, and I won't mention names, but even we discussed Chairman Issa making some statements last time you were on. I played him for you where he basically let Hillary off the hook, and so I've been disappointed with that. But you know, there was testimony today before the Oversight Committee, retired Brigadier General Robert Lovell, who said 2 very interesting things. One, we should have tried to help the Americans who were under attack at the time. Your comments on that?
Well, who stopped us? Yes, we should have. It's a very sad day when for 9 hours we can't help Americans under attack in a dangerous place on September 11th of all days. I think the general was an incredible witness. He said that we knew, the military knew, this was a terrorist attack, not a protest. They named the group involved. The CIA reported back in real time a terrorist attack. The State Department, the people at Benghazi, reported back a terrorist attack. How did this protest come about? I talked to one survivor. He was the person in charge of security at the consulate in Benghazi. He said there was no protest. There was nobody outside the compound. The ambassador went to bed sometime after 9 o'clock, and he saw on his monitor as he was watching the compound for, security monitors, a group of heavily armed men break through the gate carrying a banner that we now know was the banner of Ansar al-Sharia. There was never a protest. So this whole story about a video and a protest was designed to steer us away from a national security failure in Benghazi. The truth of the matter was the consulate was a death trap. Everybody else had closed their facility in Benghazi. The Red Cross had left. The British had closed. Numerous security requests were denied, and they left the place in a very bad way. And it was attacked by al-Qaeda, and you could see the attack coming and building for months. And that would have been a very bad narrative 7 weeks before an election,
Sure.
and undercut what the president was telling us. So it's clear to me they politically manipulated the intelligence because they were more worried about the re-election. And I hope that matters to Americans. I believe it does.
And Lavelle said that in no way did he ever think it was anything except an offshoot of al-Qaeda. And the White House yesterday, Carney over and over kept saying that Susan Rice also got her talking points from the CIA. And Jonathan Karl, to his credit, kept saying, but the CIA director at the time, Morell, has testified that he never said anything to Susan Rice or put into any talking points about a video. So it had to have come from the White House.
Well, you can see that the 14 September email we're all now discussing talks about preparing Susan Rice for Sunday television. 14 September is Friday. She appeared on Sunday. The goals for her appearance were to reassure Americans we'd done all to secure the facilities possible, which is a complete lie, that it was an internet video that led to a protest that caused the attack and not a broader foreign policy failure. The goals were to mislead the American people and take us away from the truth, and the talking points were changed on the 15th of September to help marry up with the goal. The original talking points had al-Qaeda attack, coordinated terrorist attack, no protest. What came out eventually was more in line with the goals set by the 14 September.
Right.
But here, this is important. The talking points did not reference the video. The CIA never blamed the video.
Right.
So that's why you need Ben Rose to testify. You need Susan Rice to testify.
And will that happen, do you believe?
Well, I think we need a joint select committee in the House.
I'm with you.
The House has done a good job. But can you imagine the impact if you had Greg Hicks, who's the number 2 of the State Department, at the table, this general at the table, the CIA station chief at the table who said no protest, all testifying together.
It would be overwhelming. It would really be overwhelming.
And you can't do that with this disjointed process.
Senator, let me ask you a question on another subject as we finish up here. We got about a minute. Comcast, who, you just heard, we played that soundbite from MSNBC and how they treated your comments to us at Newsmax. They're looking to merge with Time Warner, with Netflix, and with others. And there's a lot of concern that the Comcast, with its liberal bent, NBC, MSNBC, would control much of the cable industry, and conservative voices might have trouble finding a place.
I align myself with the congressman in this regard. There's no competition between Time Warner and Comcast in a cable market, so you're not creating a monopoly. There's competition with satellite, with phone companies, with all kinds of things. But here's my general takeaway about MSNBC. People are in this business to make money, right? These cable companies. I don't think you could increase MSNBC's ratings if you had a gun to people's head. I'm not worried about that. All right?
All right, fair enough. Senator, always great to talk to you. Thank you very much.
All right.
Bye-bye. That's Senator Lindsey Graham here, folks.